I've been in the video business for over 30 years, and I've been fortunate to have been exposed to many aspects of production, from corporate talking heads to large soundstage productions. About 15 years ago, my wife and I decided to get out of Dodge, and so we moved up to Idaho. And at that time, it was a transition where it was moving from analog video into digital video. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? I mean, I've come from the analog world, and the digital was just upcoming with new technologies. So I thought, well, I've been classically trained. That's really the only thing I know how to do is cinematography and storytelling. I thought, well, why walk away from it? So about 10 years ago, I started my own production company called Mountain Post Digital Imaging, where I provide film and production services for corporate clients, independent filmmakers, other folks. And it's been a real interesting road, because when I started in it, digital was just starting to evolve. When I worked in the analog world, one of the rules of thumb that I followed was always fill your toolbox, what I call my virtual toolbox, with a set of tools. And that is, as you're going through life, learn as much as you can about the technology. You don't know exactly if forever you will need that piece of information, but boy, I'll tell you, it has actually come in very handy in my career. It's the small things. And today it's very simple. Just Google something, you can read all about it. Read the white papers. You can get all the technology information you want. Back then, you literally had to learn it from either mentored by an engineer or a very competent producer, or you just learned it on your own. And as part of my career in working with video, as I mentioned earlier, I have had the chance to work with many gifted, talented people. And one of them is a good friend of mine. He's a lighting director, and he owns his own lighting company. And as a hobby, I enjoy metalworking, specifically machine working. And so him and I got together, and he says, it'd be great. For example, at that time, he was shooting for Disney, and he says, we need to get the camera. Now, mind you, this is the days before GoPros, where you could just, suction cup down a small camera. I need to get a 16 millimeter camera onto one of the roller coaster rides for Disney for an advertisement. So on a paper napkin, we sketched out a design, and I took it back to my machine shop and actually would make the parts. So over the years, part of my hobby is I would actually make specialty camera mounts for people. And I brought that capability with me up here into Idaho, where I actually will, for example, my new digital film camera that I purchased, instead of going out and buying all of the little what I call erector sets that can get quite expensive, I actually built my own. And it's a hobby, mainly. I don't, it's not my mainstream of income, but it allows me to take my creative energies in other fashion, and that is actually solving a puzzle and making something out of metal. And it's been quite rewarding, and actually has saved a lot of money in the interim. But more importantly, what that has allowed me to do is to be able to be creative, extend my creativity by allowing me to get a camera or a light or another piece of grip equipment into a situation where I didn't have that piece of equipment, or maybe that doesn't even exist, and I'm able to then fulfill, a need at that point. So what I try to encourage younger people to do is say, learn about the technology, understand how a camera records, understand what a codec is, what are the differences in the codec, understand lighting. All of those components come into what I call putting tools into your toolbox. It allows you to say, okay, well, I don't know where I'm going to use this piece of knowledge in the future. However, there may be a time where you run into a problem and you have to solve it, and you pull on that virtual toolbox, if you will, and you're able to then maybe able to find a solution, saying, wait a minute, I remember a situation we had before where the lighting was a key issue on it, and that could be the fix for it. Or using the correct codec when you're recording on a camera. So what I try to encourage people today is learn as much as you can about the digital technology, so that if you run into a situation and you need to problem solve, unless you got those tools in your toolbox to pull from to problem solve, it's going to be very, very difficult.